Excuse me, in one word, what do you love about Providence Place?
Family.
Friends. Wellness.
Art.
Compassion.
Home. Laughter.
No matter what community means to you, you'll find it at Providence Place in Holyoke.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
I'm David Martin. I'll have the story of newly ordained Dominican priest Father John Mark Solitario as he returned to West Springfield and celebrated Mass at St. Thomas the Apostle Church.
I'm Steve Kiltonic in Attleboro, where I'll have the story of a World War II veteran who has touched the lives of others through a newfound ministry, creating religious emblems.
And Elms College holds its 88th commencement ceremonies. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel on this final weekend of June. We begin today with one young man answering God's call. Father John Mark Solitario first discovered his vocation as a Dominican priest at the Monastery of the Mother of God in West Springfield. It was there that he was witness to the Dominican sisters as they followed God's call in their lives, a journey he also would undertake, culminating with his ordination on May 25th at the Basilica of the National Shrine in Washington, D.C. Father Solitario returned to West Springfield June 9th to celebrate Mass in his home parish of St. Thomas the Apostle. David Martin reports.
Family, friends, and parishioners gathered as Father John Mark Solitario celebrated Mass for the first time as an ordained Dominican priest at his home parish of St. Thomas the Apostle. It was a family affair, as his own father, Gerald Solitario, who was a deacon at the parish, assisted on the altar.
It's a great grace. Like many of the graces of the priesthood, I think it's going to take a lot of time for them to sink in. But it's certainly very meaningful to be back with many of the people that I grew up with and who have been praying for me all along throughout my formation as a Dominican friar and priest. And so to be here to celebrate the Mass with them means a whole lot, and it helps me remember of the fact that we remain united in Christ.
Deacon Solitario was pleased with the large turnout attending the Mass. After recently observing the ordination and first Masses of Father Solitario, Deacon Solitario described assisting on the altar during a Mass celebrated by his son as the icing on the cake. He said as a parent, one must take steps to determine exactly what God is calling each child to do.
With Father John Mark, we were suspicious in the beginning that, that this is what he's drawn to. But you've got to let him answer the call. You don't want them to think they're doing something to make their parents happy. So you have to really leave room for God to enter their life and to call them.
The Dominican friars, or the Order of Preachers, because of their mission in the church and religious observance, are free to spend more time studying, preaching the gospel, and offering one-on-one services to others, especially the younger generation.
Specifically being prophets, if you will, prophets after the manner of Christ, how he calls us to proclaim the truth of God's gospel, a truth that will truly set people free and be liberating for the church.
Father Solitario said the Dominican order exists to be in service of the church through praising, blessing, and preaching God through his son Jesus. It's a growing order, attracting a lot of young people.
And they're very, very effective. The Eastern Province, which he's a part of, their numbers are very high. They're back to where they were in the 70s. So they're attracting a lot of young men, as are their sisters are attracting a lot of young women. So even though they're 800 years old, they're getting younger, and they're just so healthy and so on fire and so in love with God, and it shows. It's drawing people back to Christ.
Oh, that's a good thing.
That's a very good thing, yeah.
Another family member participating during the Mass was Father Solitario's mother, Margaret, as a choir member and lector.
yeah, our family has been blessed incredibly with him and my daughters, and if people could see what it really does for a family, they would definitely encourage their children to go into this type of vocation.
Solitario is hopeful others see how happy her son is serving God, and that his caring nature will bring more people into the church. Father Solitario offered first blessing to those attending the Mass.
There's a special and mysterious way that suddenly you represent Christ for them, and you carry Christ in you. So it's a great honor to listen to their special prayer requests, and then to really lift them up through the prayer of blessing, asking God in a very special way to pour down His grace into their lives.
Father Solitario will be spending the summer assisting at the Dominicans' new parish, St. Patrick's in Center City, Philadelphia, and then will return to Washington, D.C. to complete his degree in theology. He is preparing to be a teacher at high school, college, or seminary level to help others find the true meaning of Christ in their lives. For Real to Real, I'm David Martin.
Father Solitario says he is grateful to all those in the Diocese of Springfield who've supported him on the road to the priesthood, and especially the Dominican nuns. Back on Memorial Day weekend, we featured a story on Bob Stoops, a World War II veteran of D-Day. Well, this week, in the second part of their conversation, Steve Kiltonick speaks with Stoops about his newfound ministry he discovered in his 90s. It's something that not only gives him comfort, but also has touched the lives of others.
In a previous segment, World War II veteran Bob Stoops of Attleboro spoke about his military experience serving with the U.S. Coast Guard. Stoops had just returned from the war and was settling down in Chicago with his wife, Marilyn. Looking for work, he took up an offer from an uncle in Indianapolis.
When he came to visit me in Chicago, he asked if I'd like to go to work in the jewelry business. Well, that sounded so interesting to me. I said, yeah, I'd love to.
Stoops' first job was as a die cutter with the Herff Jones Company, which manufactured scholastic jewelry and awards. After 3 years, Stoops got a job in Chicago sculpting jewelry with Jostens. In 1970, they moved to Attleboro, where he and Marilyn bought a home and raised their 5 children. A man of strong faith, Stoops was a regular communicant of St. John the Evangelist Church, where he was an usher, joined the Knights of Columbus, and received the Marian Award. In 2009, he lost his beloved wife.
It was such a shock to lose her after 65 years of marriage. And I found myself wanting to get closer to her.
Stoops retreated to the National Shrine of Our Lady of La Salette, just down the road from his house. The shrine is part of a 200-acre campus that includes an outdoor chapel, Station of the Cross, a conference center, and various gardens.
I spent a lot of time over at La Salette, talking to Christ, and then talking to Marilyn, and something about that atmosphere on rare occasions brought visions, artistic visions to me. And to capture them and not lose them, I used my jewelry experience of sculpting.
About 5 years ago, Stoops felt inspired to craft jewelry into religious faith emblems.
They all came in quiet periods, somewhere, somehow. And this particular one of Christ, it was the very first one, came when I was early morning in bed, head back, and just came out of nowhere. And I saw this picture of Christ with his arms in a crucified position. I wanted to have that emblem tell me how difficult it must have been for him to be nailed to a piece of wood.
Stoops' second emblem came to him while he was sitting in his car waiting for the light to change.
What a pleasant time to talk to God for a minute or two, a little conversation, you know. And I said, I wonder how I could do that for anybody else who had the same thoughts that I did. I said, I'm going to make a stoplight.
About a year ago, Stoops was walking on a fall day at the shrine under a canopy of oak leaves.
And I love the shape of them. I just said they just look so gentle and magnificent. And I said that'd be a good thing to have an emblem of how they come into this world in the spring with a mission that God gave them, and in the fall they leave.
At his home, Stoop explained the steps involved in creating the emblems. He first draws a rough sketch of each emblem for a friend, Peter Birch, who refines it more with a computer-generated CAD/CAM program. Stoops hires a caster to create the 3 rubber molds from which each emblem is produced, and then engages the services of an electroplater. He sprays the raw product with gold enamel spray. The Christ emblem is already gold-plated. After drying, Stoops gives the emblems an antique look with burnt umber paint. He puts a lacquer over each emblem. With the stoplight, he adheres the rhinestones with an adhesive. Initially, Stoops created the emblems for his own personal use and prayer until...
Well, I think my children encouraged me to a degree once they saw them. They said, "Gee, Dad, why don't you make a few of these, you know?"
Bob comes to the shrine on a daily basis. It's a place of solitude where he interacts with the visitors, listens to their stories, and if inspired, leaves them with one of his emblems.
There was a place where I sat, which was near a statue of Mother Mary. And there was a bench there. And I would sit there and talk to my wife, Marilyn, spiritually. And these people would almost like magnetically would come up there and look at that statue, as I did. And in the process, we'd say hello. I would ask them if I could give them an emblem. And I'd go in the car and get it and bring it back to them, and they would thank me, and I'd never see them again. But it felt good. It felt good.
He once gave an emblem to a stranger, Bill.
And I handed it to him like that, and he opened it up, and he started to cry. I couldn't believe it. He started to cry. And I've never seen him since.
The emblems are packaged in cards with spiritual phrases. Stoops has also given them out at nursing homes, supermarkets, and his church to an estimated 500 people. Stoops' son, Bob Jr., a parishioner at St. Mary in Westfield, has distributed the emblems at his Bible study class, his CCD class, as well as to graduates-to-be from the high school.
He's had a lot of positive reinforcement. He's had people contact him and thank him. He's had people take him out to lunch thanking him. And I know he's had impacts where people kind of changed on the spot.
Bob and his siblings have also noticed something different about their father as well.
We saw a significant change. Less depression and more of an outlook, a positive outlook.
Bob wrote a letter to Pope Francis explaining how his father's emblems have impacted the lives of others. The emblems were sent as a gift.
We did receive a reply from his chief of staff and indicated that he did receive the emblems, and he blessed my father's ministry. And so that was awesome.
Bob's proud of his father, who, he said, at age 96, has a second wind in life, and in the process is bringing a lot of good into the world.
As long as I can stay alive and I can manage what time I have on this earth, I'm going to keep it useful, yeah.
This World War II veteran, who has discovered a renewed faith with a ministry he can truly call his own. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonick.
Bob Stoops sure is proof that you're never too old to start something new in your life. And still to come on Real to Real, Dan Dumas has the latest news from the Diocese of Springfield. And the class of 2019 celebrates at Elms College commencement exercises. These stories and more are all still to come on Real to Real.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passion's Brother Terrence Gallon, your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy day and join us Sunday mornings. We welcome Father Charles Kosmeski as our Mass presider and celebrate the 13th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The Chalice of Salvation, Sunday mornings at 10 on 22 News WWLP, and coming up next on Albany's Fox 23 WXXA.
Excuse me, in one word, what do you love about Providence Place?
Family.
Friends. Wellness.
Art.
Compassion.
Home. Laughter.
No matter what community means to you, you'll find it at Providence Place in Holyoke.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel-to-Reel News Briefs. The 17th annual diocesan-wide Eucharistic Rosary Procession stepped off in Northampton earlier this month, with hundreds taking to the streets.
My sophomore year, I've been undefeated.
Mary and Father Chris Alar addressed the congregation at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Parish in Northampton on a recent Sunday before the 17th annual diocesan-wide Eucharistic Rosary Procession stepped off on King Street. The annual event, called To Jesus Through Mary to Console Their Two Hearts, is organized each year by the Children of Mary.
The two spiritual weapons of our times are Mary and Divine Mercy. These are the two spiritual weapons that have been given to the church by God, by Christ, to be able to survive these times of ultimate turmoil. In order to do that, we go to Jesus through Mary.
Father Alar is a Marian father of the Immaculate Conception of the Most Blessed Virgin Mary. He's based in Stockbridge at the National Shrine of the Divine Mercy. He wrote and produced the Divine Mercy 101 DVD and is the author of After Suicide, There Is Still Hope for Them and You. Father Alar's talk was followed by exposition of the Blessed Sacrament, with the congregation joining in prayer. The more than 600 people processed out of the church and through downtown Northampton behind the Blessed Sacrament and a statue of Our Lady of Fatima. As they walked, they prayed the Rosary.
Our Lady asks us to pray the Rosary every day, and our Lord is so alive within us. So to take the Lord alive in the Eucharist is so important, and it really is a cascade of blessings as we go through these streets, and we know that His love and the graces from heaven permeate.
This year, the procession coincided with the Feast of Pentecost, which marks 50 days after Easter, when Catholics celebrate the birthday of the Church and the gift of the Holy Spirit.
That's what this is all about, and especially on Pentecost. This is what we are supposed to do, to spread the good news. And we see so many miracles, I know, along the way, because there are people that just kind of look and stare. Perhaps they're former Catholics and have stopped practicing or praying. Perhaps they're not, but I just do believe that we're planting little seeds.
Upon returning to the church, children placed flowers in front of the Blessed Mother statue. The congregation then joined in the praying of the Divine Mercy Chaplet. Youth from St. Cecilia Parish in Wilbraham led the music for the afternoon. Priests were available for confession during the event. An estimated 200 runners and walkers, along with hundreds of volunteers, turned out for the annual Jesse's Run. The event is a fundraiser for the D'Amour Center for Cancer Care. Rebecca Drake has this report.
One might say that courage runs in the Sullivan family of Springfield. That is certainly true of cancer survivor Jessica Sullivan, namesake of the annual Jesse's Run. Jessie is the sister-in-law of Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan, who died protecting others during a 2015 terrorist attack at the Naval Reserve Base in Tennessee. Jessie's own battle has been with brain cancer, having been diagnosed at age 27. But she is not giving up.
I stay hopeful. Yep. You know, I'm good, I'm living. Yep. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, you know, I try not to think about it.
In addition to the support of the many runners, walkers, and volunteers at Jesse's Run, the Sullivan family finds strength in their Catholic faith and invited Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky to offer a blessing before the race.
Send us forth, Lord, with your grace. May we always walk and run in your paths of peace and truth. And may we always realize that you give us talents and abilities so that we may reach out to others and help them.
Jessie and her husband, John, have been overwhelmed by the outpouring of support.
I never thought so young I would be affected by this, and just seeing other people and family members and friends, I feel like everybody's affected in some way, you know, by cancer.
And at this year's fundraiser, Jessie's supporters walked and ran with God's blessing at their backs.
And Lord our God, we pray for healing, particularly for those who suffer from cancer. May all the research and may all the healing that comes about from it help to make our world a better, healthier place. For we pray this in your great name, who live and reign forever and ever. Amen. Enjoy the day. Have a great day.
And remember, you can always stay informed on all the latest news in the Catholic Church locally and beyond by logging on to iobserve.org. There you can read articles written by our Catholic communications staff, as well as view archived episodes of Real to Real. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were your Real to Real news briefs.
Some fun activities for young people and families are in the works, sponsored by the Office of Youth Ministry for the Diocese of Springfield. And Gina Cherwinski, director of the office, is here to tell us more. Hello, Gina. Thanks so much for being with us today on Real to Real.
Thanks for having me again.
So, as I said, you have some big events coming up in the next few months, and the first is the annual Catholic Youth and Family Day at Six Flags New England. I know a lot of people are really looking forward to this.
Yes, they are. This year it's going to be on Friday, August 9th, and it begins with a 9:30 a.m. Mass in the Picnic Grove with Bishop Rosansky. With this year, the music is being provided by the Ryan Tremblay Band out of the Diocese of Providence. And so we hope people come on out and enjoy a fun day in the park.
And if people want to get tickets, how can they get them?
They can go on to iobserve.org, and there will be a link there to purchase tickets online, or they can download a form that can be mailed in.
I also understand that you have two other events coming up.
Yes, in September we have the Catholic Scouting Retreat at Camp Holy Cross from September 27th to 29th. And that's open to all scouts in grades 6 through 12 and any youth in grades 6 through 12 that may be interested in learning more about scouting. And then we have in November the 21st to the 23rd, the National Catholic Youth Conference, which will be in Indianapolis. So more information about those are also available on iobserve.org.
Sounds great. And what do you hear about the next World Youth Day?
Well, we know that it's been announced it will be in Lisbon, Portugal, in sometime in 2022. They're thinking this summer, but that's still to be determined. So as soon as we get that information, we will get it out to all of you to start making plans for this great pilgrimage for all youth and young adults in our diocese.
All right, Gina Cherwinski, Director of Youth Ministry for the Diocese of Springfield. Thanks so much. It's a busy and exciting time for sure with all of these things coming up. Enjoy.
Thanks for having me again.
Finally today, the College of Our Lady of the Elms in Chicopee was founded by the Sisters of St. Joseph in 1928. Its mission, to empower diverse groups of women and men to effect positive change in the community and the world. Back on May 18th, the college marked its 88th commencement exercises. David Martin returns now with the details.
Surrounded by family and friends, 536 graduates of the College of Our Lady of the Elms class of 2019 entered for the opening of the graduation ceremony. This was the largest class in school history. It featured a notable 5 valedictorians, including Kayla Doherty and Jennifer Roy. Both were communication sciences and disorders majors who value learning a combination of religion and academics in the classroom.
We learned about different religions. I learned about Hinduism, and I've never known about it, and it's really only made me into a better person going out into the workforce.
And Elms is very good about, they don't push one religion, they push the ideal that you need to be a good person, and at the bottom of all religions, be a good person and help your community.
Doherty will be attending Northeastern University to earn a master's degree in speech-language pathology, while Roy is attending the University of Connecticut to earn her doctorate degree in audiology. Elms College has a tradition of educating students who are rooted in faith, educated in mind, compassionate in heart, responsive to social obligations, and strong in their principles. David Ma Kwang Ho, who earned a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing, was diagnosed with leukemia during his sophomore year. he found strength with the aid of his family and Elms College's emphasis on offering support through its faith community. He managed to defeat the disease and complete the program on schedule.
Honestly, nothing's impossible if you really put your faith and love and passion into it. And also it kind of like helps me realize like my true calling is definitely nursing to help other people find like their optimal health as well, like I did.
Ho will be employed at the Bay State Orthopedic Surgery Center while earning a master's degree in nursing at Elms College. An honorary doctorate degree was awarded to commencement speaker William Lyons III, the founder of Blackstone Medical Incorporated. Lyons, who attends Christ the King Parish in Tampa, Florida, gave a history of his family's success in business.
I talked a little bit about philanthropy and that this Catholic college gives us an opportunity to, kill multiple birds with one stone. We're able to give back to our Catholic faith. We're able to give back to education. We're able to continue our relationship with the Sisters of St. Joseph. So being able to do it at a Catholic college was kind of cool.
An honorary degree was also awarded to Kathleen Buckley Bronner, Executive Director of the Catholic Charities Agency for the Springfield Diocese.
I think it's also for the work that it does honor. This is the work of Catholic Charities. And what a more beautiful kind of combination than a Catholic institution recognizing the work of a Catholic agency, particularly one that embodies what it really means to be the church in the world.
Buckley Bronner, who is a pastoral associate at Immaculate Heart of Mary Parish in Granby, holds a Master's of Arts in Applied Theology from the Elms. Savina June Martin, the co-chair for the Massachusetts Poor People's Campaign, also received an honorary degree.
I'm totally honored, more so finding a family at Our Lady of the Elms College. I'm hoping to also make a contribution here as well in the future.
Elms College President Harry E. Dumais presented 187 Bachelor of Arts degrees, 206 Bachelor of Science degrees, 116 master's degrees, 20 doctorate degrees, and 6 certificates of advanced graduate study. Graduates said they will miss their fellow students and professors, but are ready to move forward with their education and careers. For Real to Real, I'm David Martin.
William Lyons III, the current chair of the Elms Board of Trustees, encouraged the graduates to work hard, pay attention, and take chances. And good things will end up happening. Some solid advice for us all. And for this week, that's Real to Real. Remember, for updates anytime, head over to our news and information site, iobserve.org. We also update our Facebook page daily with news of what our reporters are working on, so check that out and like us at Catholic Communications. And this marks the end of Real to Real's 35th broadcast season and the beginning of our annual summer best of shows. While we take a break and work on stories for the coming fall season, you will enjoy some of our favorite programs from this past season. For viewers of this program on WWLP TV 22, we will be off next week due to NBC programming, so look for us again in 2 weeks. So join us again next time, right back here for a summer edition of Real to Real, your window on the world around you. See you then.
Real to Real is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.